You know, ladies and gentlemen, every week that I have to do one of these videos, almost every week at least, it just makes me cringe more and more how these scams keep coming into play. Today, we're going to be talking about debt collection agencies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this whole topic, stay out of debt. Pay your debts off, alright? Nobody wants to live owing money to anybody in life. Everyone prefers to spend their money on themselves or somebody else. That's my whole disclaimer for the beginning of this video, but let's get right into it. So lately, even myself, I've been getting a lot of these calls from a debt collection agency. Now, they're claiming that I owe money to from a past family member. They have a bunch of debts that have been, pretty much has been transferred over to myself. Now, the thing is with these scams, and what really gets me, because I thought I'd egg them on a little bit. I wanted to see how far I could take it. So what the call that I ended up going on with, I ended up, communicating with the person. They've left a few voicemails, which really is interesting because looking back on those voicemails, they kept calling from a like an actual company's debt collection agency's number. And I won't say the name just for legality's sake, just for my coverage and for them, I guess, too. Spoofing of numbers is a very common thing these days, and quite honestly, I mean, I'm getting about 12 fucking calls a day with scams. It's just, but I just know better not to answer them. So, looking at how they would leave their voicemail, they would say, "Hey, this is so-and-so from debt collection agency. Please call back. This is urgent as soon as possible." And they will give you a callback number that is not even relevant to the number they called you on. Why is this? Well, obviously, they want you to connect to their phone numbers, to the numbers that they're pretty much their throwaway numbers at the end of the day. So that's pretty much how they can cover their tracks in the best possible formation. And a lot of the times what these people will do, they will claim that, hey, you have a past, like I said, a past family member, or that somebody in your family has a bunch of debt and it needs to be taken care of, or they're going to jail. They use a lot of these scare tactics, essentially. And what the problem with these scare tactics, when you're if you put yourself in a situation where you're in fear, it's a fight and flight syndrome kind of deal. Except there is no real fighting. In this circumstance, you're just scared. You want to take care of the situation before anything else happens. So what are you supposed to do? You start to comply with the other person on the end of the phone a lot more into their favor, the best way to put it. So a lot of the times what they'll do, they won't even tell you the information that you're looking for. And this is how I knew it was a scam, because they claimed that I had a family member that had debt. So I asked them, okay, so who is my family member? Matter of fact, please tell me who I am, since you obviously know that I have this debt cloud over me. They refused to give me that information. So it says, okay, well, who's this family member of mine? Because obviously, I wouldn't think any of my family members have any debt to fall over on my ass. I think I keep my financials in a very orderly fashion. So they again withhold that information from me. So at that point, it's like, well, what do you have to write on? So how do you know if there is any actual debt whatsoever on my tail? So obviously, it's a scam. They have nothing to give you at this point in time. So like I said before, they rely on these scare tactics to make you just be like, oh no, what do I do? How do I prevent, the cops from coming over here? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you had an actual debt, if you owed money to the government, they will make sure and find a way in a proper fashion. They don't just call you. They would send home a letter. They would do a lot of other opportunities. Mostly they will send you home a letter, or I'm sure there's, even if it was a phone call, you could still go back and call these government agencies and they can give you the information that you need. They pretty much, there's a system that revolves around this. So scams like this don't prevail. So that's another thing. They, a lot of the time, like I said, they will give you false allegations to, threats, telling you, you're going to go to jail, or your family member's going to go to jail. They use the scare tactics. And like I said, it comes down to like a psychological thing. If you scare somebody into, obviously debts, you're going to send the police. Like how these IRS scams are usually, how they said they have a warrant for your arrest. They were going to send the local police officer to come and arrest you. Yeah, that we get the whole thing. And some of you might be saying, Alex, well, that's kind of racist. Well, guess what? Slightly related to an Indian culture, and be fucking honest with you, I could care less, because let's be honest out there. Half the people that are out there that are scamming you are scumbags anyways. I'm not saying all Indian people are terrible, but the ones that know that they're doing the wrong, you all know what you're fucking doing. So, with that little spiel out of the way, a lot of the time they'll falsely allegate that they'll tell your family members, they'll tell somebody close to your family to kind of make you shaking your boots a lot of the times. Half the time they won't even give you their legitimate name, much less the legitimate business. So a lot of the times what these scams will do, they'll end up going out of their way, and you, after the whole scare tactic thing and you start complying with them, you'll go out of your way. They'll ask you to say, all right, we need a prepaid card certified by our government so-and-sos. Or a lot of the time they'll ask for cash transactions, or they'll tell you to pull money out, send it through FedEx, or do not Western Digital. I've been around computers too much. Western Union, sorry. So a lot of the time they're trying to get you to pull untraceable money. Essentially, you pull cash even though it is traceable. A lot of times when you pull cash, you can just easily dump it into an envelope and send it to so-and-so's address. And, even some people might come into the foreplay and say, hey, can't you, use that address information and, like bait them in and, get them shut down. The problem is, yes, you can, but with the amount of work that's out of your hands at this point, law enforcement would have to take over. And yes, you can report these numbers, you can do all you want, but at the end of the day, they're still spoofing other legitimate companies. And I feel bad because at the end of the day, you start to look at these legitimate companies that are just trying to do their actual job and, just notify people. They want people to like, listen, we don't want to take from you. We just need to notify you so you can take care of your issues. But then you have scare tactics like this that come out and they put people into fear. So what do you do in circumstances like this? Well, it's quite simple, honestly. If you feel like you owe money to the IRS, to any kind of government official, a debt collector, simple. Tell them to hang up, or tell them to give you not an invoice, what's it called? A number essentially that I cannot remember for the life of me. I was going so well with this. Essentially, they give you a number that will, like your weight number or whatever it is. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong at this point. Essentially, you can either hang up, not call back the number that was left on that voicemail, but the company that they claim to be, call back that legitimate business. Now, like I said, you have smartphones, you have computers, you have tablets, you got every other thing in this world that can help you locate those. Look up those company numbers. Call the actual company itself. Tell them, hey, I am so-and-so. I had a phone call with somebody from your so-called agency. Here's my information. I want to know if I have debt or anything like hovering over me. And those companies will go out of their way to make sure that you are in safe hands. Thing is, a company that, especially a debt collection agency, it's probably one of the most common forms of scams out there, ladies and gentlemen. And quite honestly, it's one of those easy ones that you can trick anybody into. It's if you don't know any better, this could be easily something you can fall victim to. And to be quite honest, it's unfortunate. It really is. And, people do fall for these things, but this is why we make these videos. This is why you have people like myself out there trying to educate you guys on all these little scams that go around and just kind of update you. Because scams this year have been very, very aggressive, and they're aggressive every year. This year, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten a lot more spoofing calls than I usually do, compared to the years before when they would just kind of like just pop up calls randomly. And what are you going to do? You can block all these numbers as much as you want, but they'll always find a way around. So the best way to do this, if you feel like you are a victim to some sort of debt collection agency, any kind of debt in general, for one, make sure you keep your financials at least in order. And for the most part, just if you feel scared, tell them you want a callback number. And then see if it matches up with the legitimate company. Call the actual company's number, especially with these credit card agencies. They're claiming that you owe money on your credit cards. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't take that much effort when you says, okay, well, if you have any information to give me, ask for it. If they can't supply you with it, hang up the call. Go grab that credit card that they said they claimed that you owe money on. There's a number on the back. Call the number on the back of those numbers, because guess what? Your credit card doesn't lie to you. So call those numbers in the back and get your information back in order. Make sure that you're not getting yourself hurt. No, because no one wants to be in debt. No one wants to owe money to anybody. Let's be honest. That's just the way we are as humans. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it off here. If there's anything to learn from this, just do a little bit more research. If anything, always do a callback. Always look for these legitimate businesses. If something seems a little fishy, guess what? Just toss the number or block it regardless. I've blocked these numbers multiple times. I've cussed out multiple people, but the way I see it right now, it doesn't do any good from, telling them that they're scums or pieces of shit, because they know they are. They know they're terrible people at the end of the day. And I don't believe people should live their lives in that kind of fashion. I don't know. I'm not trying to get Mr. Moral here, but you get the point I'm trying to, put down. But ladies and gentlemen, stay safe out there. Always call back a number that look up and make sure these businesses are legit. If they are, call the legitimate business, their headquarters. They will answer you and they will give you the proper information that you need. But I'm going to end it off here. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. This is another Scam Sunday. Hope you all stay safe out there, and I'll see you all next Sunday. Take care and have a wonderful, wonderful day.